Most people visit Healdsburg and they never leave the plaza. And while there's a lot to love downtown, Healdsburg offers so much more than that. And if you're thinking about living here, you need that information. Today, I'm going to give you a detailed map tour of Healdsburg, from the plaza to the Dry Creek Valley to Fitch Mountain and beyond. And at the end of this video, you should know whether Healdsburg is the place you'd like to land for your next chapter, and if so, where in this beautiful area you belong. So let's get started. I'm Stephanie Johnson. I'm your Real Wise agent in Sonoma County, and this channel is for people just like you who are thinking about maybe relocating to Sonoma County, investigating your options, and deciding where in this beautiful part of the world you'd like to land. If that sounds specific to your needs, then I encourage you to follow along. We're going to be dropping videos every week on life and real estate here in Sonoma County, so please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you're notified each time we offer a video. So the first thing I think we should do is just look and see where Healdsburg is in relationship to the rest of Sonoma County. And I have pulled up on my map the boundaries for Sonoma County, and you can see that Healdsburg's sort of just north of center here along the 101 corridor. It's close to Santa Rosa, which is here. Actually, it's hard to see because it's not labeling it, but this basically is Santa Rosa. It's a big city. And it's actually quite close to the Charles Schulz Airport, which is a great airport, services a lot of Western cities. Southwest just started flying out of this airport, and so there's a lot more service coming to the Charles Schulz Airport. Super convenient. If you have a second home in Healdsburg and you live somewhere else, this airport makes getting here a lot easier than trying to get into the Bay Area, either in Oakland or in San Francisco, and driving through all that Bay Area traffic. So other than that, it takes a little longer to get to the coast from Healdsburg than it does from some of these other areas, just simply because of the distance. And it's actually toward the eastern side of the county, so summers are warmer in Healdsburg. And so you can see, this is the mountain range that comes down, this coastal mountain range. Healdsburg sits just on the east side of that, and so it does have a lot more heat in the summer. These areas in Cazadero, Guerneville, the Russian River, into Sebastopol, which is here, and west of that area is all much cooler than this section of the Sonoma County, which is much warmer. And then in relationship to the Bay Area, of course, San Francisco is here. And this drive from San Francisco up to Healdsburg is about an hour and a half with no traffic, maybe a little further, but max hour and 40 minutes to Healdsburg. I think with traffic that can easily become 2 hours plus. So if you are thinking about relocating from the Bay Area and living in Healdsburg, you're gonna have much more of a commute because you have to also get through Santa Rosa than you're going to have if you live in, say, Petaluma or even in Sebastopol. So let's get into the town of Healdsburg itself and look at some details. So the town of Healdsburg is not that big. It's about 11,000 residents, but it's packed full of amenities. It's a very luxurious town. It's a very charming town. And the center of Healdsburg is certainly Healdsburg Plaza. Healdsburg Plaza is right here. It's a gorgeous place. In fact, I could probably drop my friend here on the map and we can look and see. So this is the plaza itself. It's really pretty. There are shops that really line this plaza all the way around. Shops, restaurants, tasting rooms, art galleries, you name it, boutiques. There are no empty storefronts in Healdsburg. Unlike a lot of towns that you'll visit in California, Healdsburg has amenities galore. And I think that's one of the things that you notice that's really different about Healdsburg than many other places you might visit. There's a lot of money in Healdsburg. There's a lot of tourism in Healdsburg, and therefore it can support a lot of businesses that are very high end and cater to a particular aesthetic and a particular lifestyle, and they're all thriving. This coffee shop right here is my favorite coffee shop. I think if I start the day in Healdsburg, that's where I'll go. It's called Flying Goat Coffee, and they make a really delicious matcha. Also along this block of the plaza are a couple of businesses I'd love to talk to you about. So obviously Copperfield's Books has been around forever, and this chain has stores throughout Sonoma County. There's also a little kitchen shop here. It's called Plaza Gourmet. I love this little kitchen shop. It's been there since I was a kid, and every time I'm in Healdsburg, I pop in there because I'm a cook. I love food, and they have Williams-Sonoma level kitchen supplies of all kinds and shapes and sizes. It's a really fun destination. So back to the top view of the map, there are some businesses and some restaurants that I'll tell you about, just because I think if you're visiting Healdsburg and you're trying to get an idea of the lifestyle, you absolutely want to eat out, because that's what Healdsburg's all about. It's about food and wine and just enjoying that about this region. Dry Creek Kitchen is Charlie Palmer's restaurant. This is a very well-known restaurant. It's in the Healdsburg Hotel. It's a great kind of special occasion evening out, and they have a wonderful California cuisine menu worth checking out. Acorn Cafe is casual but delicious food. It's more of a high-end cafeteria feel, but it's got a fun interior and is really well located and easy for lunch. Willie's Raw Bar has been there for a long time. This is a seafood staple. They sort of celebrate the bounty of the Sonoma coast. You're gonna always get a pretty good meal there. Little Saint is more of a newcomer in the last few years. It's a vegan restaurant that also has a wonderful music program. Actually, they pull in some really big acts. They have an upstairs area that's a stage and a big room, and they pull in a lot of musicians into that space. It's a pretty cool thing that's worth checking out if you're in town. So you'll see Single Thread is here, which is just off the square. Everybody knows about this restaurant. This is a 3-star Michelin restaurant that has gotten a ton of press. It's a very well-regarded place. It's a special experience on par with the French Laundry. And so, you know, it's kind of one of those super luxury moments that you're gonna have if you can afford to have that in Healdsburg. You're very fortunate. It's a lovely place to go. Brava's Tapas Bar is also great. I love this restaurant. It's been there a long time. They have a wonderful outdoor area in the back with a bar. It's got a nice energy for groups or even like a small birthday party. I really think it's a celebratory space, and it's really nice to go there and eat outside in the summer. Cousteau French Bakery is a lovely destination. That's been there a long time. It's sort of a mainstay in Healdsburg. They have great French pastries, classic French desserts. It's got a lunch menu that's really lovely, and that's a nice kind of indoor experience as well. It feels really beautiful inside. A newcomer is Troubadour Bread and Bistro. This is a sandwich shop. It's a high-end sandwich shop during the day, and then at night it turns into a pre-fee menu, bistro style. It's a small space, it's very intimate, and the folks that opened this used to work at Single Thread. This is a group of people that are very good with food. I think you're gonna have a wonderful experience whether you do lunch or dinner there. Another place I'll tell you about that I like to frequent is the Paul Motter Gallery. It's an art gallery, it's a huge space. I don't really go for the art though, I go because they have a stage and a beautiful piano, and they put on a wonderful jazz program every year. They always have some of the best jazz artists come through from Brazil, from all over the world, and it's a really fun, intimate listening space for jazz enthusiasts. So if you like jazz music, that's a place to check out. And of course, I'm going to tell you about the bakeries. And so there's one more I'll mention, which is also recognized by Michelin, and that's called Quail and Condor. And it's south of the square here. The square is above the traffic circle here. And if you come down south of the traffic circle, it's here. And actually, it used to be a little hole in the wall. They've expanded. Now they have a big space. It's pretty inside, but also the pastries are to die for. If you are a bakery person and you get to Healdsburg, make sure you make a stop at Quail and Condor. Okay, so enough about food. Where do people live in Healdsburg? Well, there's a lot of different areas. The first area is really in town, right? In this sort of area here. If we look at downtown Healdsburg, Plaza is right here. If you look here on this side, about this area, this is sort of the heart of Old Town Healdsburg. And this is where a lot of the Victorian homes that you're gonna see, sort of very stately, old period homes, line Johnson Street, Prince Avenue, down Piper Street. Actually, they kind of come about this far. So this area is where you're going to find a very grand, lovely historic home. The other area that you'll find some historic homes are east of the square. So here along North, especially along Matheson, there are some just really beautiful homes. If you are in the market for a gorgeous Victorian or early 20th century home in Healdsburg, that's gonna happen here and also to the north of this area, just to the west of Recreation Park and to the east of Healdsburg Ave. So if we look at this part of town as a whole, probably right into here. And so what does it cost to live in this part of town? Well, if you want a historic home that's done, and a large home on a decent sized lot, you're definitely gonna spend in the several $1 million. But entry-level homes start probably around 1.2 million for something that doesn't need a lot of work. And once you get into the 1.5, $1.6 million range, you're gonna have a house walking distance to the square that is in good condition, has been fairly recently renovated, has around 2,000 square feet, maybe 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, on a decent sized lot, and it's not gonna need much work from you to move in. That's sort of what happens in town. Now, if that's not within your budget, you can certainly do more in Healdsburg, but you probably will have to leave this sort of walking distance to the square area because this area is really in high demand, and this is where you're gonna pay top dollar. Some other areas of Healdsburg you might wanna know about are this area to the north of Recreation Park. So this area in here, I guess around this area, this was developed more in the mid-century. So these homes are going to be more modest. They're more 50s, 60s, some 70s style homes in this area. You know, of course, the further away you go from the Healdsburg Square in town, you're gonna get a little bit better price. Also, if you're looking for a larger home that's more modern and you're fine with like a 90s construction home, but you want like 4,000 square feet, you would probably want to look to this area around Healdsburg Elementary School. This area here was developed in the 90s, and these homes are actually quite grand. They've got cathedral ceilings, big sprawling layouts, large lots. Some of them have pools. You know, these homes are kind of start in the high 2 millions and reach into like the mid 3s, depending on square footage and exact location. But if you're looking for a big house that's modern and you are okay being a little further from the square, you're more like 9, 10 blocks from the square here, depending where you are in this area, that's a place where you can get a pretty modern home with a lot of square footage. Obviously, a big defining factor of Healdsburg is what's happening to the east, which is the Russian River flows through here. And it flows right around the edge of town and then out toward the area that we know as kind of Russian River, which is the Guerneville-Monterey area. But this riverfront is also really popular, and there's a neighborhood here that is much more affordable with a Healdsburg address, and it's called Fitch Mountain. Matheson in town turns into Fish Mountain Road. And then as you pass this area, which, you know, this area here, I should mention, is also more of a mid-century development. This whole area was developed in the late mid-century, so 60s, some 70s homes in this area, and pretty cool. Like kind of now what you'd see in Dwell magazine. I think if you found a house in this area, you could really make it special for a price that's sort of more entry level in Healdsburg. So as you drive out Fitch Mountain Road, it gets pretty rural, and this road becomes fairly windy here, like a mountain road. And all along this area are sort of river homes. You're gonna see homes that are on the smaller side. They tend to be kind of vertical, built into the hillside, because this is pretty steep terrain coming down to this riverfront. And so all along this Fitch Mountain Road, you'll see homes that feel like the Russian River. When I say the Russian River area, I'm talking about Guerneville, Monterey. This area really feels like that. It gets hotter in the summer because, of course, we're further inland. Let's see if I can drop you down on Fitch Mountain and show you. Well, this is the river. It didn't drop me where I'd hoped, but this is the Russian River. And if we travel down the Russian River, it looks like it's gonna show us this area. And you can see the houses here. You know, they're built up into the hillsides. That's on the east side of the river, not on Fitch Mountain Road. Yeah, so you can see here, you know, these homes are river homes. They're built along the road. Some of them are very piecemeal as well. You know, some of these homes are really renovated, others are not. And so you're gonna wanna sort of see if this area is for you, but you can certainly buy a home here for less money than you can in downtown Healdsburg. Getting a home in Fitch Mountain under $1 million is totally feasible, depending on how much space you need and how much kind of finish you want, how done you want your house to be. You can certainly get a home in this region for between $700,000 and $900,000. So Healdsburg is obviously one of Sonoma County's premier wine regions. And so where are all of the wineries? Well, let me show you. First of all, they're in the Dry Creek Valley. And if I back way out here, Dry Creek Valley is this area here. It runs from Healdsburg itself up to Lake Sonoma and back down. And you can see actually it's a real valley. You know, there's mountains on either side, which are the green. It descends down into this area where all of the vineyards are. And if I zoom in, you can really see it's chock full of planted vineyard land. There are 2 roads, actually 3 in the Dry Creek Valley, but 2 main roads. The first one is Dry Creek Road, which runs along the east side of the Dry Creek Valley. And you can see here as we pan through all of the different wineries that are from 101 all along this area. So if we follow it out, you can see all of these beautiful wineries. You're welcome to visit them. They're all gorgeous. They pour beautiful wines and also have really lovely grounds to explore, have a picnic. I mean, this is a really nice place to go on vacation, but it's also just a beautiful place to live and explore on weekends when you're here. I do this quite frequently. I was just there last week and sat at a beautiful winery with a gorgeous view and a glass of wine. And I thought, well, where else would I want to be right now? I mean, Healdsburg offers a lot of quality when it comes to your lifestyle. Another store I'll tell you about is the Dry Creek General Store. This has been here forever. I think it says established 1881. I knew it was, from at least the Victorian era. This place is a fun destination. They have lunch. Let's see, I'll show you. There's a bar, they have lunch. There's also like a lot of, local goods that are sold in this store. And this is just a fun destination. A lot of cyclists ride their bikes along the Dry Creek Valley. If you're in Healdsburg on the weekend and you stop here, you'll see tons of cyclists hanging out and just like taking a break from their ride. So this is a fun destination to know about. You can also taste some wine there. And then as you get further north, Dry Creek Road dead ends into the dam, which creates Lake Sonoma. And Lake Sonoma is a beautiful recreation area. This is a very narrow, interesting looking lake. There is a marina at Lake Sonoma, which is located here. You can go there and look at the boats. You can rent boats here. Lots of people are on this lake on the weekends, fishing, boating, water sporting. It's a fun place to go in the summer. There are also hiking trails at Lake Sonoma, and lots of cyclists also ride the roads up around Lake Sonoma because they're actually pretty steep. This is a pretty tough ride in here. There's a lot of terrain and elevation change. And so if you're a hardcore cyclist, this might be an area you'd like to explore before you move here. So another area that's interesting to visit is the Alexander Valley, which is another AVA or viticultural area that is designated to the east of Healdsburg. And this is where Silver Oak is. You might be familiar with some of these wineries, but it is along Highway 128. So if you come out of Geyserville, north of Healdsburg, and come down 128, you're gonna roll through the heart of the Alexander Valley. And that's this region here. You can see all the planting. And it runs down into this region down Chalk Hill Road and then ends, I guess, somewhere here. It's not designated here, I'm guessing. Most of these wineries are here in this area and then also to the north. And this area also is really well known for its tasting rooms, its great cycling. Another place that's fun to visit in the Alexander Valley area of Healdsburg is the Jimtown store. It's now called Jimtown and then some. It's also been around forever, and it doesn't look like much from the road, but it's actually a really cool destination, great for lunch. Wonderful place to stop if you're wine tasting and checking out real estate in the Alexander Valley. And the last wine region near Healdsburg is the Russian River AVA, which is to the south of Healdsburg along the Russian River corridor. It runs south of Healdsburg along the west side of Santa Rosa. So surrounding Healdsburg, you have 3 different viticultural areas that you can visit. And they all offer something a little different, kinds of wines that they specialize, and different tasting rooms, and a little bit of a different vibe. So I encourage you, if you're thinking about moving to Healdsburg and you really want a wine country lifestyle, check out these 3 areas and see which one you enjoy, because maybe that's where you'd like to have your home, to be close to the wineries that you love the most. So what does it cost to live on the outskirts of Healdsburg? That's another question I get a lot, because of course in town can be a little bit prohibitive depending on your budget. And so while I won't focus on all of the areas around Healdsburg today, I will talk to you a little bit about the Dry Creek Valley, which tends to be where people who love Healdsburg want to live if they don't want to live in town. So technically the Dry Creek Valley spans both Healdsburg and Geyserville. And as you move north on the Dry Creek Valley, further away from Healdsburg, you're gonna spend a little bit less. As you get close to town, of course, the prices are gonna be a little more expensive because you have so much more convenience to all of the amenities that Healdsburg offers. Now, prices can really vary because, of course, it depends on how much land do you buy, how much house are you getting on that piece of land, are there outbuildings? And so if you're interested in looking at real estate in depth in this area, I encourage you to book a call with me so that we can talk about your needs. And then I can give you a really good indication of what you'll need to spend and how to meet your needs depending on what your budget is. But in general, if you're looking for a home on a few acres with maybe a 2,000 square foot home or thereabouts, with a outbuilding of some kind, a barn or a big garage or a multi-purpose space that could maybe be converted to an ADU, and some views, and it's a move-in ready home, although it's not a super luxury, I think you can do something really wonderful between about $1.8 and $3 million. That will go pretty far in the Dry Creek Valley. as long as the acreage is not massive and the house is a modest size. As you go up in size, especially for square footage of a home, and you add amenities like multiple outbuildings, a pool, a really stellar panoramic view, or a location that's very close to a well-known winery, for instance, or even a vineyard, you're going to pay more for that. And certainly Healdsburg prices can get very expensive. Healdsburg can move into the $5 and $10 million range quickly. And so if you're thinking about a bigger estate, a 4,000 square foot house with multiple outbuildings, a pool, and a lot of land, you're looking at $3, $5, maybe even $7 million, depending on finish level, exact acreage, and exact location. As always, these things are very specific depending on your needs, and so please reach out to me. I'm happy to chat with you about what you're looking to do in Healdsburg and how I can help you succeed. There are just a few other things I'll share with you about Healdsburg that I think make it pretty special. And the first thing is sort of not that sexy, but they have a really great hospital. Healdsburg Hospital is a Providence hospital, and we've been here a few times because we've had some broken bones in our family, not me, children of mine. And actually, because Santa Rosa would be the closest hospital to us, that's normally where you'd think we'd go. But Santa Rosa General can get hairy. It's a pretty big hospital, and you never know what's going to go down in that ER. I will say in Healdsburg, it's the complete opposite. Every time we've been to the ER, there's been nobody in there, or maybe one person in there, and you get helped right away. And I would say that that's a really great destination, even if you have kids and you live in Santa Rosa or in Windsor. Unless it's a life or death situation, they just broke a bone and you need to get it set, Healdsburg Hospital is the place to go. I highly recommend it. We've had great experiences there. There's another destination, if you're an outdoorsy person, that I want to tell you about in Healdsburg, which is the Armstrong Redwoods State Park. This is a beautiful preserve. It's redwoods galore. It's a very big departure from Healdsburg itself because Healdsburg tends to be quite warm and redwood trees don't do well in that climate. And if you travel just about 20 minutes southwest into this state park, the whole world changes. This is a glorious area with old growth redwoods. It's a really beautiful preserve, and it's often fairly empty. It's not that busy. Sometimes on the weekends it can get busy, but it's a lovely destination to go for a hike with the dog or with friends. Another cool destination that's just outside of Healdsburg but is worth knowing about is Safari West. Now, this is a safari park where they have exotic animals like elephants and zebras and lions, all inside of a fenced wilderness area. It's privately run, and they have a camp there. You can go and actually stay overnight there and do excursions to see the animals. It's a pretty special place. It's a fun place to take the family, whether you go for the day or for an overnight adventure. And I think if you've got little kids and you're looking to do something with them while you're up here shopping for real estate, Safari West could be a really cool place to check out. So I hope this map tour of Healdsburg was helpful to you. Of course, we've just scratched the surface. There's so much more to know about this beautiful part of the world. And if you're interested in learning more, I'd be glad to meet with you either via Zoom or via phone to discuss your goals and where you think you'd like to land in Healdsburg, California. I'm Stephanie Johnson. It's been my pleasure to present this information for you today. I hope you'll follow along. Subscribe to our channel, please, and hit the bell so you're notified every time we drop a video. We'll be dropping videos every week about life and real estate here in beautiful Sonoma County. Until the next one, bye for now.